Welcome to Our Energy Matters with Anthony Manna and Dena Marie. Aloha.
Aloha to you too. Here we go. It's episode 58 of Our Energy Matters. You know, we take that idea of our energy matters for granted in a way, because, you know, I now know what you mean by that. So I think at some point we'll have to stop and analyze that as well. But it's nice to be able to meet once a week and to have me illuminate what I'm finding out about myself and my journey because of your book, Our Energy Matters. And everybody can see those beautiful crystals, and I'll read the entire title so that those crystals come to sense, you know, because we're going to become something that we can understand, I should say. And you know, we'll talk about that a little bit today in the episode. But what I do is I come by and I make a piece of writing come to life as best I can. And today it's I call it crystal reading, crystal healing, because it seems to be all about that. And I start off by saying, Laba diende, laba zive. Good day, good life to our Latvian viewers. And I go on, I say, today, I invite you all out there to follow me as I dance my way. And I got into this dancing thing because all I remember is the first time I met you, and I was on your you invited me to be on your radio show, Lift Your Spirits. I said, she doesn't stand still. You were like moving around, and you know, I just thought, this lady's a dancer. And then I found out that you really love to dance. So I say here today, I dance my way, 2-step slide, glide, Billy bounce, yes, into Dena Marie's chakra-powered, crystal electrified, playful, prayerful domain. I keep navigating in Our Energy Matters, the art of crystal reading, her spellbinding book, where soul seekers like me learn how to manifest their heartfelt intentions. And that's the second subtitle. Dena Marie, please slide a few bebop steps into your celestial alchemist persona and tell us about heartfelt intentions. You know, because I mean, it's there in your title, and I think we have to stop every once in a while and remind people and remind me, because I see heartfelt intentions. They make me think of deliberateness, forethought, planning. So what does manifesting our intentions mean to you?
So you were touching your heart when you were talking, and we had a nice conversation. So our hearts are open, right? And if your heart is open, that's the altar to your higher chakras, which is creativity, imagination, and inspiration. I have a person that I have to keep my heart blocked to protect myself. And now I feel confused. I can't make decisions. I'm not getting synchronicities. And if I'm around that person every day, I call it the confusion method. It works because people can lead you around because you don't know what you're doing. So heartfelt intention means, does it feel good? That's your heart. It's a monitor. And if it feels good, keep doing it, because then you're going to be more inspired, more creative. And you had I call them bullies. When those bullies come around, they're looking for energy. They're looking for your energy. And the only way they can get it is by using the power chakra and the throat chakra, because their heart is blocked. They don't have energy. So they're going to steal yours. And I call it kleptocrats. They take your ideas and they make them their own. And then they always tell everyone they did all this stuff, and then they step on you.
Well, you know, and it's, you know, that's really interesting, because I mean, I see a lot of bullies when we're driving around, you know, and you know, and I just, it's like sometimes I get so angry and just say it's a macho thing, but it's not only male, you know, it's female as well. I mean, but there's a lot of aggression, and I find that to be very bullying like. I always felt that way, even growing up, because I never seemed to fit into that mold of the macho male, I mean, and I knew that from the very beginning. But so I
You
say,
probably didn't want to fit in there.
no, I really didn't. I didn't. I was confused about it though, because I mean, you were. I was repulsed by the bulliness of it, but also wanted to be in the crowd, as it were. So
Yeah.
I mean, when I graduated from high school, they voted me the most popular and the wittiest, and a lot of people hated it. I mean, they wanted to beat me up. Because it was not, it was weird. It wasn't like I was the best football player. So now folks, twist and shout. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Twist, shout, and raise high your arms with me through Dena Marie's overreaching, spark energized treatise of a book where intuitive revelations of soul, mind, body disturbances, and those are the blockages that folks feel who seek her crystal guides, purified chakra energy, Reiki healing, and celestial awakenings, her blessed guidance, heart and solace, and her spiritually endowed awareness of static, sedated, deadened, fractured self-sense and soul depth. And you know why I say that? Because you've got those stories all over your book. And they're so intriguing about people who came to you. And not only that, but then a while ago, I talked to you about it and you said, oh yeah, and then you went on this roll and you mentioned about 4 or 5 other people that are not in your book that, because I'm sure you met many, many people along the way who, as I say here, what did I said, seeking, looking toward their soul depth and their self sense that you awaken them to. Call it a book, your book, pulsating with the promise of dazzling enlightenment and manifestations of hope, healing, renewal, and recovery, ordained by the alchemy of Lady Grace's seasoned sense of unburdening the heart, soul, spirit, mind of those drawn to her to uncover their truth, their presence, their yearnings, I say. And actually, I think it's sometimes maybe just a little simpler than that. I think it's a matter of uncovering who they are.
And finding that block. What is blocking you? What's stopping you? What's making you not be you? And it could be a parent that told you to keep your mouth shut. Or, it's those tiny little things over time. The little girl in the book who's dancing at the 5-year-old at the basketball game. And then all of a sudden she's crying and she's bawling because her dad yelled at her and told her to stop it. It's like that little girl in her head has said, oh gosh, I better not be me. I better not do that anymore. I better do what my dad wants and I should please him. That's where all my hypnotherapy went to the 5-year-old, always went back to that person that was just really, really not feeding your spirit. They were bad for you. But what were you going to do when you're a child?
When you're a child, yeah, I know. And that's so, boy, I tell you, you see so, I mean, I experienced some of that myself. I wouldn't say that my father was a bully, but he had expectations, let me put it that way. And they were not necessarily intentions, if you understand what I mean. I see the distinction between that. His expectations were of wanting me to be something that I couldn't be, and I think he was very disappointed. He never really, he said it a couple of times. He said, you're always going to be a cheerleader, but never on the team. And that, and I mean, I'm 80 years old and I remember standing there listening to him to say that. I just wanted to say, and you are bullshit.
Tell you what, my mom said to me, I go, when I grew up, I want to be a dancer. And she goes, you can't be a dancer. Your legs are too thick and you're too short. So my whole life, I hated my legs until I realized I love my legs. They get me from here to there, right? And I was a dancer. I did aerobics for almost 13 years and I got paid to dance in front of people and teach them how to have fun.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I've drugged so many people out into the dance floor this lifetime. And you know what? I am a dancer and so are you. And that's who we are. And that's okay.
That's okay. Perfectly okay. Thank you. So I say here too, that your seekers chosen crystals to fathom their condition, their mindset. It was hard for me here. It's their condition, their mindset, their needs, their purpose, and their intentions. And so I say to you, Lady Grace, let's explore the truths you seek to unveil with the sacrosanct crystals your clients choose. And isn't it funny? Listen to this one. You are a choreographer. We just talked about that. You're being watched, You're a choreographer, adept at crystal reading, interpreting, conjuring, the alchemy, the therapeutic wonder, that chosen crystals uncover. So tell me, first of all, what is crystal reading? Because at the beginning, I had no idea. When I first picked that up, crystal reading, it sounds fascinating. It sounds esoteric. It sounds mystical.
Well, recently you changed it to crystal healing, which I like that. But the reading is, I was reading people. I mean, that's what it was. You give me 64 crayons and you pick out your favorite colors, 7 of them. I can do a reading. I can do a reading if I go to your house. I can definitely do readings just walking into someone's home. I can do a reading with your closet, what you wear every day. I mean, and that's what it's kind of a detective. I say that in the book, but I don't really like saying that I'm reading people. But at the time I read people, and I don't do that anymore because you know too much about people and it makes them uncomfortable. And you might say things like, I have to say something. I was standing next to someone and I said, we should go to a strip club. I did not go to strip clubs. I had no idea where that came out, but that guy was sitting right behind me and we were in Seattle, and my ex goes, did you know that he does that? And I said, I have no idea what was going on, but that's when I was doing a lot of readings.
Yeah.
I busted that guy.
Yeah. Well, you say the same thing in your book too about color, that you can tell by the colors that people are wearing. Well, I mean, but the crystals are colors, so I think, and then also, I mean, all over your book, and then in the back cover with, just, I look here, I say the throat chakra turquoise, so I mean, you, and this is place crystals on corresponding colors. So in your book, there's no way of escaping from the connection between the chakra, the color,
And
so,
for instance, I did a reading with a man and he picked all red and black stones, all of them. So that's the lower chakras. So that means all those other chakras are blocked. And so I pulled him aside and made him do it again. And I said, well, how depressed are you? And he was suicidal. So these are the I don't want to say that he needed healing, and he came for a Reiki circle and he got off all these medications and stuff. But in the end, it's just one way to get to I have a woman, she's beautiful, but she's missing her heart. And I'm like, you're mad at somebody and you're protecting yourself. And she just starts crying, but she looked perfect, right? At the time she looked perfect, but she was disempowered, unable to express herself, and she was hurting. And so then she talked to me. As soon as she talked to me, opened her heart, she got her power back and she felt better. So there's ways to open the chakras, but it's all those blocks. And if you do that over time, you will get sick. Throat issues, sore throat, thyroid, you get migraines, you could have heart disease, blood pressure. When I was around a bully a lot, my blood pressure was so high, trying to protect myself, right? And not being able to express myself. Not good.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of slipped into the next aspect of what I was asking here in my writing, which is your heartfelt stories you tell of clients and friends whose crystals you have read. So I say here, can you do that again? Just a little bit of, like, say someone that you remember really quite well. I mean, you just did that, and it's so provocative to hear you talk in terms of people that come to you who, in a way, don't really know what's going on. I mean, they're kind of insensitive to themselves, and so.
But again, a blood pressure medicine. I can read people, but this man looked super gray and he was unhealthy. And so I did the chakra reading with him, and he was missing his throat chakra. And I just told him to make me a CD, because I had to find something creative, and he loves music from all over the world. So he made a CD, but in the midst of that, he made a cover. So basically he was expressing himself to me through music, and the music was great. It was awesome. But over time, he started writing. He started doing all these letters to people and going back into his past. And then he lost all this weight, and pretty soon he didn't use medication. And his ex-wife didn't even recognize him. She was like, Dan, is that you? But he could talk to me, and he could express himself, and he healed the past because he was a very sensitive boy too. And his dad was really hard on him. So it was one of those things that he's in the book, and I tell the story, it's super in depth, but he did a lot through the throat chakra. But his whole life he was told, he had nightmares about his dad to this day, who's passed.
Yeah.
Throat chakra, expressing yourself, practicing self-love. And then sometimes your medications, you just don't need them anymore because you're healthy.
And so here you talk about the throat chakra as turquoise. The healthy throat chakra is self-expressive. You're just talking about that with this guy. Self-expressive, creative, honest, and communicative. And the crystals are turquoise and aquamarine. And I mean, they're turquoise and aquamarine they're such beautiful colors, and there's a lot of depth, and I think of aquamarine like when I lived in Greece, the water in some of the islands was aquamarine. It was, you were startled by it because I had never seen anything so pure in my life. And on the other side, the blockages are sore throats, lack of creativity, and indecision. So you say the prescription here is express yourself through the arts, sing, write only for yourself, and talk to people who will listen. Yeah. And especially the business of writing only for yourself, because I mean, I probably write every day in some fashion. And the book I am reading right now, which is called Fearless Writing, I was mentioning it to you in our phone conversation. He's saying, you are not your critic, and it's like he's trying to get you to create yourself as a writer, and you can't please everybody. And, and then he goes on and he talks, it's okay to be in a writer's group, but be careful because you're not, and I wish I could read some of the quotes right now for you because they were just so enlivening to me. But you write not necessarily because you want to be critiqued and edited. You write because you want to tell a story or read or write a poem or something and get it out, And I just think that's so beautiful because it has really helped me to step aside and think, why am I doing this? And now I'm even thinking to myself, I'm not necessarily with the story I'm working on right now, which is developing. I'm not really sure I want to publish it. I'll publish it maybe as a self-publishing exploration. I've never done that, etc. But it's so true to come to find yourself through a crystal reading, and just to explore what I just talked about with the place the crystals on the corresponding colors. You unravel a kind of mystery with that.
Well, and I have to share this because it's relevant, that the same man, after a while, when you get your throat chakra open, sometimes you pendulum and you go way too far. So he was the first person to read my Our Energy Matters. After I got it done, I gave him a copy and he wrote me a long letter saying how much he did not like my book. He did not want to use the crystals I gave him, but he went too far, right? But it was one of those things like I took it to heart, but then I wouldn't be talking to you right now if I didn't write my book, the way we are. So it was my book. I put things in there that my ex-husband said, don't put in there. Don't put that in there. No one wants to hear those stupid stories. Yeah. You're confirming that I did the right thing.
Oh, absolutely. The stories make it come alive. The stories are the crystals, of what we can become. Oh, we have to go now. No, but I think we've started something here which could be a nice series, of exploring the colors, the crystals for a while, and just see where we go with that. I think it's in our next few episodes. I ask everyone out there, want to move closer to Dena Marie's wisdom, then listen to her weekly radio show, Lift Your Spirits, on 1150 AM KKNW. On her website, Dena-Marie.com, You'll find out about the radio program, Lift Your Spirits radio show, and also about her classes and, you know, her chakra readings, etc. On we go with this. And also on Facebook, she offers quite frequently offers chakra insight and into chakra energy, to blockages, to prescriptions. And you'll find information about her workshops and courses, which right now is happening, isn't we've got one coming up.
Yes, I'm excited. Finally.
Yeah, what is that called again? Because
it was this Lift Your Spirits at the Bayview Healing Suites, because March 2020 was our grand opening. So this is our grand opening.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, congratulations, actually. And my website, go to my website, anthonymannabooks.com, for an interview with Dena Marie in the Podbean podcast interview section. And for parents, I always have to stop and say parents, grandparents, fathers, mothers, whatever. There's at my website, there's a lot about writing and reading with very young children, tweens and teens. A lot of book lists and writing activities, and even there's some really good ways of getting poetry into their lives, especially for adults who are afraid of poetry, etc. So, we end the session and move on into the day, and we'll talk real soon.
I'll talk to you next week, and we have to schedule you a reading right now. When we're done. I'm going to send you something.
Okay, well, good. Okay, I'll be glad about that. I did. You did that one other time in my life, and it was very illuminating. All right, everybody, thank you for listening in and watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.